back to this game again. I don't really have much to talk about this week, but I did want to talk about fighting multiple enemies, but first I have to clear the boss I was on in Bayonetta. Oh shit. I'm dodging too early. I hate long attacks. You haven't missed anything. I only just started. That's alright. I'll always be here, except when I'm on a holiday. Sunday tends to be the best day for me to go on holidays, but I don't do that very often. I'm basically just concentrating because this boss is slightly annoying. I want to get past this so I can get on to hard, and then I don't have to worry about watching cutscenes. I haven't played this game since the last time I played it last week. Oh, something important. What? I bet you I failed this cutscene. Why are they all lined up anyway? I remember this being harder, but that's probably because the last time I did it was an infinite climax. I'm pretty sure they're a lot closer together. I wonder what happens if you smash the Earth. That would be pretty amusing. Also, we somehow got out of the solar system when we were doing this fight. I don't remember getting that far into space, but okay. Ah, oh, come on. Get out of the way. What? I was nowhere near it. What the hell? It's not set in the same universe. What is this? I very much doubt that. Like, that's impossible. Dante, there's no way Dante would have, like, seen something that big happening on top of the earth and not somehow been up there dancing, eating pizza. Maybe he was, actually. Maybe he was just watching. You know, I don't have to do anything. That's pretty great. I like this, he thinks. Oh, I see. There's an invisible tunnel here. It's an invisible tunnel, and I was trying to go above the tunnel, but Mercury was at the top of the tunnel. Blah. I don't enjoy that boss very much. Mm. That doesn't make any sense. Really? Oh yeah, but I think those things are just Easter eggs. But I don't know. Doesn't really bother me. If he wants to do that, he can. He made both of them after all. I don't think too hard about stories of Kamiya's games. That way lies madness. They tend to have character resolution, and that's it really. Oh, he's sad. Whenever I see the word headcanon, I just think of actual headcanons, you know. Wow. How do they all not realize that Bayonetta is actually the nun? Or Jean, or whoever. No, I like the story of Devil May Cry games as well. Well, the one I saw. I actually think Devil May Cry 3 has got one of the better stories in an action game. It's all a complete character resolution. I've never actually played one though. Oh, that's John. There you go. No, it's not. You got lots of costumes. I haven't actually finished this game in a long time. I'm just taking the excuse to play it. I am going to be talking about game mechanics, but not quite yet. What's he doing? You can't see it? Yeah, that was pretty good. I still remember the first time I beat this. And the last boss was just like, what the hell's going on? Oh yeah, here. That's right, you gotta fight in these credits. That reminds me of the credits of Bayonetta 2, but they actually gave you a really good weapon to fight the enemy with, but I bet you a lot of people didn't realize it. They gave you double dual swords, and you can hold the charge with both. Alright. Oh, I got that, did I? That probably didn't get me enough combo points. I was just messing around there. Did you do that in Devil May Cry 1? Oh, no, pure platinum, okay. It's got a low combo requirement, I guess. The, did he fight during the credits of Devil May Cry 1? I know it happened in 3. Though that wasn't, wow, I'm a crow. Awesome. Oh, okay. Well, 3 and 4 on him, so. They both smashed his car. That's just mean, guys. That's just mean. Okay. Oh yeah, this thing. Wasn't there also a special dance thing? Can't remember much about this game in terms of story. You know, it always amazes me the amount of effort this kind of thing would take. You'd have to be so strong to do this stuff. Everyone just looks at these things and goes, sexy. And I just sit there going, wow, that takes a lot of skill. Skill is everything. I can't look at anything and not think it doesn't take skill. I was watching this lady swimmer the other day and I was like, oh my god, the muscles in her back. That's amazing. Good old Hideaki. I like Hideaki. He has a sense of what's the word? It's like frenzy. He has a sense of frenzy that I really like. Kamiya is more like he's over the top, but he's sort of smoother about it, I guess. Whereas Hideaki's just like, let's do it, bam, 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 bam. You're just like, holy crap! I like that. So there's supposed to be something else, right? Or was that a reward for beating Infinite Climax? Oh yeah, that's the reward for beating Infinite Climax or something? I don't know. There's some kind of dance. I know there's a dance. How do you get the dance? I missed one. Find out what happens with the used items. I was looking up the scoring system. Each used item reduces a rank. So, because I died 4 times because of all the bullshit in the boss fight that I'd forgotten about. Oh, there we go. So I've got to do that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. I want to try and unlock Jean. Man, I got golds in those. That sucks. Missed 2 there. Oh, that's right. That'll tell me what I missed. Yes. Yes. I've been looking for that. I wondered when you unlock this. Whoa. There's quite a few there. Missed 9 and 12. I missed 5. I missed the Alfheim. I need to get that Alfheim. I'm gonna go back and get that Alfheim. Oh, congratulations. Yay! Yay. I like that you just get handguns for being normal. Okay. I want to get, I think I only have 1 Alfheim left. I'm not sure. I don't know how to check. Oh, here we go. There we go. I didn't notice before, but it's got Enzo sitting there. This game just doesn't know when it wants to end. This makes you want to dance. I like how happy these games are. It's one of my favorite things about them. How happy they are. They're super happy. I like how Luke is just posing there. Really? Why? I think if the people you knew found this game strange, you need to find new people. I think you'll find that the people you know are very, very boring. Hey, little Sarah Sita in the background. I didn't see that. This is quite a detailed choreography, isn't it? Wonder if they animated some of her more extreme moves, or they, like the legs and stuff, or they actually got someone into mocap it. You know what I mean? Because she moves her legs in ways that you gotta stretch for a long time to be able to do. They ain't easy movements to do. And the thing where she slides down on her knees as well, that's like, wow. That ain't easy. That takes a lot of work. So the motion capture for that would have been interesting if they'd had actually done motion capture. Okay, finally. So if I unlock this one last alpha, I should be able to get Angel Slayer. I think I've gotten almost all the others. It doesn't show it on my records, but I do have it because I went back and got them, and it saves your progress, I'm pretty sure. I think. Unless you have to beat the chapter, in which case I don't have any of them. Yay! Although I have the hearts and stuff, so we'll find out. Hey man. Yeah, I don't need to play the cutscenes anymore. I've already done this. No more cutscenes ever. Time to forget the story all over again. Whee! What? What is hitting me? What the hell hit me? I'm not awake enough for this. I just want my Alfheim. What? Jeez. Blah. Ah. Alright, so you're gonna get all the way up to her shoulders. What? I pressed the jump button and she just did a normal jump. What the hell? Good thing I'm not finishing this chapter. One thing that's been pissing me off about this game doing it again is that the freaking the press A to jump, if you're actually moving, it won't let you trigger them, which is like, come on, that's unnecessary. You're supposed to get combo points somewhere here. I have no idea how you're supposed to do that. Alright, I gotta get up to... Yeah, so you need to get some combo points somehow. I need to get up to her shoulder and then turn back. So, about here. And then you turn back. And there's an Alfheim here. Because, yeah, she would turn back, you know. There's no Alfheim here. Crap! Ah, I need to go further. I hate Alfheims. I hate their spawn conditions. They're so arbitrary. Wait, maybe it's this one? No. Okay. It's definitely not here yet. Right, so shoulders. Well, can't they just mocap it normally and then exaggerate? Why isn't it working? Give me my buddy Alfheim. You little brat. Oh wait, there it is. Aha! Ah. Not enough combo. Yay! My favorite stage. Alright, now you can just quit. Oh, but I don't have thingy. Oh. Where is it? Where's that user layer? What? Where is it? Where's my angels layer? Do you have to beat the stage? Okay. Well, let's try the thingy. The vestibule. That's a combo. What? Whoa, where did you come from? You see how fast they are in this mode. That's one thing I really like about Platinum, is how they slowly increase the speed of their games. So you have to speed up to increase, to keep up. That's the word. Keep up. Oh, jeez. And then by the time you're on the highest difficulty, you've got this maniac pace. It's just like, what the hell's going on? And if you've just been sort of casually getting your way through the game, that last difficulty is like, wow. My god, he's so fast. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm not fast enough. Wow. Jeez. This is really making me think. Ah, shit. There we go. Good way to wake me up is to play something like this on hard, and then by the end of it, I'm like, what's going on? Where am I? Shaking. Okay, did that unlock Angel's Lair? Or do I have to actually go through all the stages and actually save it? Because that's gonna be annoying. I'm not gonna remember which bloody Alfheims I've done. Yes, yes, yes. I love that laugh. Mm-hmm. I have not been waiting for this. Go away. Right. Give me my angel slayer. Give me my angel slayer. Give me my angel slayer. Slaying the angels. Where's my angel slayer? Yes. Yes. Okay. I need some serious firepower now. Wow. Let's see if this trick still works. Oh. Gotta watch out for that one. It's got recovery. You can't, well, not recovery, you can't actually move during it, which is a pain in the butt. Important thing to remember in this is to do torture attacks because they give you a little bit of life after you're done. Oh, they fixed the glitch. Oh no, here we go. So when you're dealing with multiple enemies in this game, or any game really, I've got a bunch of strategies that I use to deal with them. One thing I do is you've got to kite them basically. It's a pretty simple one. But the other one is to recognize that when you are fighting juggling an enemy, you don't have to care about that enemy. So I'm not looking at him right now. I don't have to look at him, so I'm not. It's that simple. Why look at an enemy you don't have to deal with? And I think that's something that a lot of people do. They watch their own character doing movements. I'm not watching Bayonetta. I'm listening and I'm looking around at the other enemies around me, because there's just no point in me watching Bayonetta and watching that enemy. So all my focus is on everything around me. When they're on the ground, they're helpless. When they're in the air, I mean. Some games don't. Some games don't do that. Transformers, they're not necessarily helpless in the air, but that has different mechanics that allows you to take care of that. To slow down and stuff like that, so the enemies can't actually attack you anyway, because they're slowed down during a combo. So you really only have to worry too much about whether an enemy parries you and react then. So that has a little more complication. It's sort of a natural evolution of this system. But you don't really have to... It's about conservation of attention. You've only got a limited attention span, and you want to be able to conserve it as much as possible. So it's about where you look on the screen and what you're doing when you're playing. And one of those things is you just don't look at the enemy that you've got in the air. You get them in the air and you start hitting them. You don't look at anyone else. You don't look at them because all your attacks and stuff have to be on autopilot. That also counts when you're doing flurries in games. When you're doing flurries, the enemy you're attacking can't do anything about it. And it also applies to Transformers. Flurries are multi-chain attacks where they hit you multiple times. Well, you hit them multiple times, I should say. Screw your shit. Another good thing to do is try to keep enemies off screen in games which respect that. I should say that. Some games don't respect when you're off screen. The enemies will attack anyway. Sometimes they have cues, sometimes they don't. It's still, for games that do respect it, what you do is you keep the camera facing away from the majority of the enemies, and then they won't attack you. But you've got to watch that, because in Platinum games, they tend to have it so that if just one pixel of the enemy is on the screen, it can actually attack you. Like, so if you suddenly see a part of the enemy appear on the edge of the screen, that's when you know it's going to attack, because it'll appear. So that's something you have to watch out for if you decide to use that technique, that you don't get overconfident. Ah. In this game, you can use torture attacks as a way of clearing space and getting a little break, because enemies continue attacking around you. So it's a good idea to use them when in a hectic situation, to take out an enemy that you don't want to deal with, and also it gives you weapons that you could use, because the weapon's pretty good. Ah, screwed up my input. Let's try and do something specific. The other thing is to recognize you got to think about the psychology of the game designers. Designers don't make stuff out of nowhere, so they don't just throw multiple enemies at you because they hate you. They throw multiple enemies at you because they expect you to be able to deal with it. And that means that earlier in the game, there's going to be a fight which has a single one of that enemy. This is in games which are well designed, of course. Some games are not as well designed as this. They just throw enemies at you just because they think that's what they have to do. But I don't really like those games, so I don't really talk about those kinds of games much. It's very rare that I play games which do that kind of thing. So generally what they do is they give you an introductory fight where they'll give you the enemy in a single environment. Even Dark Souls does this. It'll give you a single type of that enemy. Sometimes as a boss, and then later it'll throw lots of them at you. So what you could do is, if you're having trouble with a specific fight, is you can try to go back to an earlier part of the game which had that enemy, and you can study them. Just a good way to study them is just to learn to dodge them. If you can dodge them, you can attack them. Pretty much. These guys, I gotta pay attention. Sorry. Otherwise they'll take all my life, and then I'll be stuffed. I want to at least beat the first. Die, 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 die. Okay. Oh, then I got Joyce coming up, don't I? Oh, I hate Joyce too. Ah, another good thing when you're dealing with multiple enemies. Group composition. I think it's important to have enemies that have linear attacks, or at the very. I like it when enemies have attacks that are easy to outmaneuver with movement. But it really depends on the game. If it doesn't have a good movement system, that's not as important. I also don't. I like it when enemies, when they give you. I don't really know. I mean, it's all based on what I like, so I can't really say. But when I'm talking about fun to fight versus feeling overwhelmed or excessive, because all that kind of stuff is based on what your skill level is right now, like your current player skill level. There's no objective baseline you can use that will apply to every human being on the planet. You've got every person has naturally faster reactions for certain things. Some people just have naturally faster reactions. Their body, their hand-eye is faster than other people's. Some people are faster at learning them than others. There's actually a difference in one part of the brain that I've forgotten the bloody Latin name of. No, I've forgotten it. I will write that down, and I will mention it next time for sure at the start what the name of that part of the brain is. Striatum, maybe? It's sort of in the middle near your body cortex. It controls your learning speed for action games. Well, not controls, but like the development of that area, the amount of complexity in that area of the brain correlates highly with the speed with which people can learn in these kinds of games. So if you've got a less developed striatum, I think it is. No, it's not striatum. It's also an S though. Sorry. This is why I didn't do well in psychology, because I can't remember these fucking names. I just remember the concepts. And it will. So if that area of the brain is not as large, those people didn't learn as fast. So there's a. It's not. I don't like to say it's the bell curve, because that's not really proven. That's just an assumption. But there is a range that people like a statistical curve that of people who are slow, and then you get to the average, and then you get to the high level. And I think what you need to do, but there's not just that's only a slice of a single moment of time, right? When you think about that, you've also got to remember that people learn. They learn as they go along. So any given fight has to take into account not just the baseline of what humans can account to, it also has to take into account how fast people learn on average, which is a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do, and that's why so many games just increase it to what the designer wants to increase it, and just expect people to catch up. Some people take longer and I get really frustrated. Some people do it really quickly and are like, this is too easy. You've just got to sort of just like, too bad to those people, because you've got to try and figure out a sort of average that will work. And as for me, I like difficulty, so I have the personal attitude Sorry, I was reading the chat. Yeah. Bayonetta 2 did formations, which was interesting. You could actually like do it. You could actually do unique attacks out of them. Ah, oh, crap, Joyce. Hang on, Joyce. Fucking Joyce. Ah, Joyce. Don't forget how to play the game now, man. You gotta fight a Joy. I'm gonna have that to kill the next Joy. Ah. Ah, that was a waste of witch time. You've got to kill Joys because they can split. You've got to kill them now. If they split, you're doomed. Oh god, the auto camera. I will say, if you're gonna have multiple person fights, make sure your auto camera doesn't keep swapping targets randomly, because that really pisses people off. Like me. It's one of the reasons I like Bayonetta 2 so much is that they've actually fixed their soft camera, the soft lock. I'm not holding lock on now because I'm just trying to target random ones. But Bayonetta keeps randomly swapping between enemies on me, and it really pisses me off in these games because it makes it difficult. You think you're doing one thing, but you're actually doing another. It would actually be easier if she didn't have it at all, and I had to do it all manually. I prefer it in games which do that, actually, because then you don't have your attacks automatically sort of vanishing into places you don't expect. It's just wherever you put the analog stick. Bayonetta and Nier and all that stuff, you've got to get your targeting right in a multiple person fight. I think that's really important. The other thing you've got to get right is how it handles auto-targeting of important enemies. As a designer, when you're making the camera, it can't just be a functional thing. It's also got to take into account the enemies that the player is most going to want to target in any given group. A really good example of this is Batman. Batman has a auto target sort of feature where when you press in a direction, Batman will go and attack enemies. And when you're doing, for example, a takedown, which is a double, you got to build up to it, and then he'll take one enemy out of the fight, right? In Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, it was set up really well because he would target the enemies that you most felt were a threat and wanted to get rid of if you were trying to do a takedown. So he would cut through a group of thugs that were standing right next to him, and he would hit the enemy you actually wanted to take down. So that was good, like the most dangerous sort of thing, the one you want to get rid of. Whereas in Arkham Knight, they sort of screwed this up, and he'll just take down the thug next to the guy, and you're like, please don't do that. And another one is in Arkham Asylum, they hadn't yet worked it out perfectly, so sometimes he would cut through a bunch of thugs and kick an enemy that can block your kick and break your combo. That's bad. I wanted to attack the enemy right next to me, so I actually pressed, like, sort of, let's say I pressed at a 45 degree angle. Like, well, I pressed it at like 2 o'clock, right? But he actually went across at 3 o'clock or 3:30 to hit this other guy. That is bad. You don't want to have that in your multi-person game. You've got to make sure your camera is able to handle precision. And a lot of games nowadays, they have too much emphasis on making the game sort of play it a little bit for itself to help new people. Helping new people is wonderful, but not at the cost of precision. You must have precision. If you don't have precision, your game is limited. If you have a limited game, it's never going to become, I mean, if you might become famous, you might make lots of money because people like, you know, they like games to be easy to play, but it's not going to be the kind of thing that is going to be acclaimed for having really, really deep combat, because you absolutely, precision is a requirement for skill. Without precision, you can't develop skill. If half of your skilled action game is based on luck, you've thrown away skill. It's that simple. Which game is this you talking about? Which game is this you talking about? Devil May Cry 4, man. Devil May Cry 4. That's the orb attack? Yeah, no, they will do that. They will do that attack. Kind of rarely, but what you can also do is when they zip across the screen and he starts to order them and they go into formation, if you immediately attack and stun the golden guy somehow, he won't give his, because what he does is he goes across the screen and he like clicks his fingers or something and they go into a formation, and they all go across the screen and they prepare to attack, like they'll get their shields up and they're prepared to actually charge you, and then he puts his hand forward as the, you know, charge attack. If you stun him before that happens, they just sit there waiting for his command that doesn't come. So they just sort of sit there for a while and then they stop. It takes him quite a few seconds, and in that time you can wait on the golden guy without his friends helping, because like they're waiting for his command, but he's busy getting smacked around. So that's another way you can deal with those guys. So yeah, no, I actually think those knights are really well done. They are very, very cleverly created enemies, and I really like them because of the different ways that you can mess with that formation mechanic. It is neat. More games need to do that. Ah, shit. Ah, come on, I dodged that. Also, if you're in a multi-person fight, do not be afraid to just sit there and shoot your gun or something while you're waiting for them to do something. Currently, I'm trying to pay attention to both people here. Whoa, where did he come from? I don't know what happened, but I think... What happened there, actually? You know what? I'm gonna record that. I want to watch it myself and find out what happened. He just came out of nowhere and died. Yeah, and when they do the charge as well. Yeah, I like the turtle thing. I also like the one where they set up to charge across the room at you. And you can stun the golden guy. You gotta mash to stun him. The mashing. When I talk about mash, I'm talking about this. If I say mash, this is it. That thing. And the multiple hit attacks are what I mean when I mash. Lots of games have these, and in platinum games, those attacks are unparryable. You like, yeah, the enemy can parry the ender, it can parry the thing at the end, the big. It can parry the actual. Not one that has a weave, so that doesn't work in Bayonetta. But in Transformers, they can parry the attack at the end, but they can't parry the actual flurry itself. So when I say flurry, mash, multiple hit, you know, super kicks, whatever, like multiple hits all really quickly. Those things are, in platinum games, are attacks that enemies can't parry. So they're really useful for getting out because you don't have to worry then. This doesn't count, by the way. That ain't a flurry. It looks like it should be a flurry, but it ain't a flurry. Flurries have to be the old Fist of the North Star sort of thing. I think what happened was I happened to have dodged and done a weave, pirate, and that caused the dude who charged into me to get hit by the weave and die. So he looked like he just killed himself. Ah, come on. Will you bloody well hurry up and get me what I want? Ah! Come here, Jean. Come on, Jean. Ah! Sometimes she walks into it and it does so much damage you can kill her instantly. That's what I was trying to do. you've been a pain, Gene. Yeah, those bone wheels. They're actually relatively easy if you use... they get stunned by gunfire. So, if you really hate them, this is actually the best setup for them, because bullets go everywhere. And so you can just hold down, and you'll keep them all stunned. And also shooting them will knock them out of attacks. The only one is when they do those fire... There's one attack which... if they do it, you can parry it, and it will put them into that grab state, and then you grab it, you start spinning it around. Any other bone wheels that come near you while you're doing that spin, because you're invincible during it, will get killed, and give you tons and tons and tons and tons of points. So that's a useful way to deal with them. The other one is when they're lying on the ground. This took me ages to learn. Oh, I hated this. When they're lying on the ground, they have a charge up, and they go like wow. And they have a flash which grows in brightness, and when it reaches its peak is when they shoot you. So look for the flash when they're lying on the ground. Yeah, the flaming wheels. Ah. Oh, it's not hard. I'm doomed. Oh, God. Oh, I can't keep up with the speed. I need to play hard. What? Oh, what happened? I meant to parry, but I didn't actually expect to get the perfect parry. Yes, give me that. I'll take your thing. Actually, I don't want to use it on this guy. Drop your damn shield. Whoosh! Things get serious. I gotta stop talking. Man, I got completely wonked there. Yes, this is why I keep this. Eat it, babies. Ah, shit. They survived. Why they live? That was a complete accident, but I'm gonna take it. Sure thing. See how the gunshots are freezing them? And also, when they're on the ground, if you do the tetsu, it will knock them out of it. It'll knock them back upright. Because when they're on the ground, they will do the bolt attack, no matter what. So... I found out something really interesting. I was reading this lore book for Terry Pratchett's world, and he based his witches in his world. I don't know if you ever read any Terry Pratchett. On this, he has this trio of witches, because that's a traditional thing for Shakespeare. Shakespeare is the one who actually created that idea. There being three witches with Boil, Toil and Trouble. Witches weren't necessarily evil before Shakespeare decided to put them in his play as a bad guy. Thanks, Shakespeare. So Though there was the Fates, but that wasn't necessarily witches. That was the Greek. That was the Greek conception of they weren't. They were just gods, really, goddesses. And he based his Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Og. If you don't know those characters, don't worry about it. Just maybe look them up someday. But on this real witch who was a combination of both. And I've got it in my book. Can't remember her name, but she lived in this shack. Not shack. She lived in this pretty nice house actually, because she had a little she had her own pub, right? And she would serve patrons to the locals, and she was really good with herbs. She was good at finding out what local plants could do to heal stuff, and she was really smart. There's a story about like a legend about related to her where a priest, because the priest used to come in to try and see if they could accuse her of heresy or something like that, to try and investigate her, and so they would try to dress up as a local, but of course they're priests. They're really obvious, because they're gonna have better conditioned skin, they're gonna have better conditioned teeth, because they're richer, you know, they're gonna look healthier. So she would, and their bearing, their whole body language and everything, it'd all be much easier to spot. And she was a smart lady, so she basically, this priest walked in, she instantly said, "Get out of here, priest! I'm not serving you." So she was a really clever lady, and that's what he based Granny on. But she was also, she had like lots of husbands. They kept dying from liver failure. Her at the pub. I'm guessing she didn't drink much herself. This is my favorite animation. Because I hate these fuckers. Ah. Wow. What I was doing there is I realized that I was not yet fast enough at dodging their attacks. So I basically stopped doing anything but watching them, just to get used to the speed of their attacks again. Oh. Wow, they lost all their startup on hard. That's interesting. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I do, because that's how you learn. Should go back to normal because that's all I've played so far. So what should I do now? Yeah, I wanted to talk about. I think I've gotten everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to. See, I keep thinking that I've got something else I want to say. After I finish these, I'm like, oh, I should have said that. Oh, I should have said this. About your question about designing multiple person fights, multiple group fights, I think it really depends on your game, but I think you need to keep aware of the fact that people can really only handle at max, and this is if they're really efficient, 4 different focuses of attention. You can only really split your attention into 4 different ways, 4 different points, and the important point is that you're not actually increasing your capacity when you do this. You're using 1/4 of your attentional capacity in each individual focus, which means if you're going to throw lots of enemies at someone, they can't all be Johns. The 3 John fight in Angel Slayer is easily one of the hardest fucking things I've ever played in any action game, because John doesn't give a shit, right? And there's 3 of them, and you have to pay attention to all of them. That's just ridiculous, right? I mean, granted, if you're going to do something like this, sure, you know, you can do that because it's Angel Slayer. They don't really want it to be something that you have to really struggle to beat. and then you've got lots of powerful abilities that you can use to try and beat it. But the when you're trying to make just sort of your generic sort of normal, where you're just trying to have a fight that works, you need to keep in mind that people can't pay attention to too many things too quickly, because it's just not humanly possible. It doesn't really matter. It's not something that skill can improve. You cannot improve your personal attentional limitations. You can only get more efficient at using them, at using the resources you have, at using the attention span that you've got, the capacity that you've got. So when you're designing a fight, you need to make sure that you have the things where not too many enemies will attack at the same time, where or if you do have that, it's sort of staggered so that they can, because like for example, if you're having the whole screen attack you at exactly the same time, right? Most fights are staggered, but if they all attack you at exactly the same time, so you've got 12 enemies all doing an attack at the same time, that is impossible for any human to dodge, especially if they are overlapping attacks, so that the timings are all different. So even if you had a perfect dodge where there was no recovery, right? 12 attacks at the same time, nobody can process this. That's not possible. The tank fights in Transformers Devastation are interesting because Transformers has a different mechanic to handle the lack of attention. That is that when you string together the right moves and create combos, all of the enemies around you slow down. They are put into basically witch time without actually being in witch time, which means you have more time to think about what's going on around you. So they're not actually as difficult. I mean, they're really, really, really hard. But once you work out which enemies are the most dangerous and you need to kill, and that bloody dude who drops that stuff on the ground is the most dangerous and you need to kill him, and when you use status effects properly, they're not as difficult as they could be if that slowdown didn't exist. If you're trying to fight them and you don't understand the mechanics of the game and you don't know how to trigger the slowdown reliably, nah, they're ridiculous. But when you do know how the game works, and that's what the challenge is there for, to teach you that kind of stuff, they're not that bad. Yeah, that's how I learned it. But I learned it on PS3 Royal Guard. What you said about learning Royal Guard by just sitting there with a scarecrow, I did that for every enemy. I would kill all but one, and then I would sit there Royal Guarding them. Bang, 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 bang. And what I actually did was I went through and I unlocked using items. I unlocked Super Dante or Super whatever, the Espada, Super Espada, the one which has infinite a regeneration in Devil Trigger that actually regens his health, right? And then I would go to normal or something, and I would just sit there in Devil Trigger permanently on, and I would just block. So because my health would regenerate from their tiny attacks in normal, so I would just learn the attacks there. And then I went on to hard, and I would do that again. So I would go up to the next difficulty, and I'd learn it there, and I'd learn it there, and I'd keep going on like that. So that's how I learned to do all that. And also, I got used to dying. But it was less likely to die with him because he could regenerate his health, and I could just like run around for a while and get my health back, and then try again. So that's how I learned to Royal Guard reasonably well initially, and then I would swap back to Dante to actually play it, because the fun part of Royal Guard is the fact that it increases your magic. Increases your Devil Trigger really quickly, so you can Devil Trigger explosion, do all kinds of cool stuff, and mess with enemies. And so if you have infinite Devil Trigger, it was kind of boring. See that? They broke the super armor. Important thing to remember about the multi-hit attacks in this game is that they break the super armor. Ace's Water is interesting, but I'm not good at 2D games. I don't know where to look. So that's why it gets me. I'm too used to 3D games where it's all basically on a plane. Like most attacks in... Bayonetta was interesting because it had enemies up here who would attack you, the flying guys. And they'd like... and shoot you with the little bolts, but that was still slow. But most attacks happen on the ground. So I really only had to think about here. I had to think about it in 3D, but I didn't really have to think too much about Especially in Devil May Cry, that's also the case. You don't usually have to think about up here unless you're fighting enemies like angels or whatever, and they usually you're just fighting angels in that case, you know. So the thing about Aces Wild is that they attack from 360 around you on the screen. You think you could just translate this whole fighting on the ground to fighting on the screen, but I couldn't. So I would not be able to see them because there was too many. But yeah, I really like Aces Wild. I'm just really bad at it. Really bad at it. Terrible. I can't get past the first boss. I don't like her tails. Her tails annoy me. She's too tricky. Umbrella lady. She taunts me. How dare she? I'm sure I could do it if I get trying, and I guess I should probably take it off, you know, wild, put it on normal or something. But I wanted to play it on wild. It's called Aces Wild. Why would I play it on something else? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I couldn't beat the first boss on wild. What happened there was I was trying to do this, and he went to attack me, and I cancelled it, and then I did it again. Oh, another thing I like about this game is you can see their shadows. Important thing to remember, you can see their goddamn shadows. I love that cake. Yeah, I quite like the fighting. The enemies that... I'm not a big fan of super armor. I think super armor is cheap if it's abused. I know it's a common thing, but I much prefer when the fights are based around aggression and it's up to you to crowd control the enemies. Having fights based around aggression and super armor is, to me, annoying. I like to be able to crowd control my enemies. I would prefer it if you designed the game so that I could crowd control them and it's still difficult. Which naturally results in a very, very vicious style of game, which is great, because then, you know, I'm kicking their ass, they're trying to kick my ass desperately, it's all wonderful. Whereas when you have super armor, I'm sure it's much easier to design the game, but oh my god, it's so boring waiting for the enemy to be actually attackable again. And in the meantime, I can't really do anything interesting because I have to wait for them. I don't like it when I have to wait for them. I'm very impatient. So my personal dislike is when that happens. Pretty much. Wow. There's a chink chink you can hear. And also the wah! That's their tell for being about to attack you when they laugh. I can hear them hitting the ground. For some reason this ship isn't attacking me. It must be stuck in there's too many characters attacking me mode. When you hear them go, wah! That means they've landed on the ground and you can kick them around. Which is a useful thing to remember in this game. See, when I was doing that fight just then, what I was listening for was clank clank, which is the kinship attack that can grab you. You hear the clank clank and then they grab you. I was listening, I was watching waiting for missiles to come out. That didn't happen. And I was listening for the laugh. And the little shiny clinky sound that you hear when they come into attack. And I was also listening for the squeak. Because when they squeak, and Blitzwing is different though, because again, the game has a really good slowdown system. And I'm not talking about super armor. When I talk about super armor, I'm not talking about for a specific game. Like, sorry, I'm not talking about for bosses or specific enemies. You can use super armor in a really interesting way. I'm talking about it when it's a generic part of your game. Really good example being Devil May Cry, the new one, which had those enemies that you could only attack with certain weapons. You know? Big enemies having super armor is completely normal. I have no problems with that because they're slow. It's when you have fast enemies that have super armor that are just annoying as fuck, because they're supposed to be mooks, right? I don't mind bosses having super bosses, like the big muscly guys in Aces Wild having super armor, lovely. But there are like the little petite sort of umbrella boss lady having I would have preferred it if she had a combo drop rather than just being unattackable while also having really annoying attacks that could, like, because she could throw out 2 umbrellas, which is immediately a warning card. You don't have, she's got ads, right? She's a boss with ads, and she's the second boss. I mean, sure, maybe you wanna, I mean, it's something that you just gotta realize that you're not gonna beat Aces Wild comfortably easily. You've got to really work on it, and that's fine. But I don't like that design as much as I like bosses that don't have super armor. I think if you have super armor, your enemy has to look like it should have super armor. It should be giant, it should be huge, it should be basically, you know... And it should be something that you can break with the right moves. One of the reasons I really like Bayonetta is that when you've got your enemy and it looks like they have super armor, you can actually break them. If you do heavy attacks. Like kicks are more likely to break super armor. What the hell, I dodged that? Whereas these guys, they're big and fat, right? So you can't really block them. But if I do a wave... Oh, bugger off. Oh, that attack, for example. Or if I do a launcher, it'll actually stun them. Or if I do a half charge, that'll stun them. So, or if I get up to my mash, and once they lose their armor as well, they're completely vulnerable. They're completely hit stunnable once they lose their armor. So there's a lot of complication in this game, even though some of the enemies do have super armor. And the enemies that do have it look like they should. I also don't mind super armor during actual attack animations, because that kind of, I used to hate it, but that kind of makes sense, because otherwise you could just permanently stun lock anything. You never ever have to deal with the actual attack, and that means you never learn the attack. So I don't mind it too much. But again, even with these fast attack animations, even with these attack animations having super armor, there are attacks that can't, that you can use to get through it. Just sort of lazily killing these things at this point. Whoa! I didn't recognize that at all. I know what it was, but for some reason I didn't see it. I used to use, in Adrian Palace, I used to use Sharuba with, because it's one of the fastest PKPs. So that's why I used to use it, because if you use another weapon on your feet, it tends to be a bit slower. And also it shoots, so I could dodge offset and have all the shooting happen. Which kept the combo going, which I liked. I like to keep combos going. It's just, I don't like it when I drop a combo. Whereas my normal setup, and other than that, was nunchucks and Kildor. Nunchucks and Kildor. So yeah, I haven't got that yet. It's gonna take me a while. A combo drop is when the enemy can decide not to break out of the combo. Like I was playing Guilty Gear before, so that's why I think of that. You know, the burst thing. I was playing that last night at this fighting game convention. I've never played Guilty Gear before, and you have the one, you have that meter you can use, and you can drop a single combo. You can break out of it. Some enemies get that. It can be annoying. It can be good. It really depends on what kind of what kind of game you're designing. So there's not really anything that is intrinsically a bad idea. There's not really any rule. It's just like writing a book, really. You can do anything you want, as long as you do it well. What makes well, that's really something you've just got to learn. Whatever you want, as long as you do it well. Bayonetta's got lots of cheap shit, for example, but it does it well because Bayonetta is more powerful than all of it. Dodge offset means that it doesn't matter if you don't get witch time, you know? And there's plenty of moves that she has that are really good at getting around it. Even things like this, right? When you're doing a shot and you're doing, for example, like fighting a joy or something, and you hold your button on your third punch attack, right? She'll actually fire these things twice really quickly at the start of her, so you can really quickly get out in the middle of a combo. You can suddenly fire it twice, so it's actually really useful for getting that out. Anyway, it's nearly half past, and I just want to talk a little bit about multiple enemies and stuff. I'll probably talk about this again. I'm likely to think of something like this, but I want to talk about what I do to get around those enemies. So yeah. And other than that, I've got a lot of stuff to do today, so I'm gonna have to break off early, about 10 minutes early. Thank you for coming, guys. It was fun to talk to you again, Pirate and Nicholas. Pirate McDougal. It's a great name. I've been very busy, so I haven't really been able to think up really good topics for my streams lately. But I'll try to think up some better ones. I've still got lots of stuff to talk about in regards to psychology, so I'll put a bit more effort into it for next time. Really? Cool. You've got a cool second name there, man. I like that name. See you guys around.